Hey, what's up? It's Frankie here. Zelda B is sleeping on me, on Papa. I want to tell you guys something here. Man, if you ever utter this phrase, it will keep you stuck for a long, long time until you stop uttering this phrase. And I would say about 90% of agency owners utter it at some point. So let's get into it. So that was the big mystery right there. What is this phrase? It's usually a phrase, by the way, you only say to yourself. You don't say it out loud, but you say, I'm not ready to blank, so in the meantime I'll do some sort of getting ready process. So I see this all the time with somebody who says, I'm not ready to work with a really big successful client. I don't know enough. I haven't figured enough out. Therefore, I'm going to work with broke starting out people. And we're going to figure that out. And then when I'm ready, then I'll work with the big, more successful people. I see a lot of beginners do this too. They'll say, I'm not ready to run Facebook ads for people, so I'm going to go get a few courses or certifications first, believing that you need to be certified to be able to run profitable, successful ads for people. In fact, usually the people who are the most certified are the least qualified to run those, go figure, right? Because they don't have the real world experience, just have theoretical courses and things like that. So it's kind of a little bit backwards, and I just wanted to share, part of it is really just an internal thing, but I wanted to share a little bit about what the experience that will create for you. So I remember the first time I worked with a business that was, I don't know, tens of millions of dollars, and here's little me. At the time, I think I was struggling to do my first 100 grand. My first six-figure year. That sounded like a huge number, and I was literally working with a business that was 100 times bigger than me. And so it was very, very easy to think the thought, who am I to help this business? I'm not ready. And so maybe I should go work with a business that's doing $100,000 a month, like where I'm looking to aim for. And when you do this actually in your own experience, what you'll find is where it makes life miserable is usually the businesses that you aim to help doing six figures or below it. I say this with all love and kindness, but there's a reason why they're there, and you are not going to be the person who single-handedly pulls them out of it. We like to often think about ourselves as saviors, but you are not. And so what ends up happening is you work with businesses, and then you realize when you get into the relationship that you can't actually help them. So I'll give you a really simple example. One of the first guys who ever hired me was a lawyer named Tony. Great guy. I love Tony. I still love Tony. But I realized really quickly that in his little small town, nobody was really advertising for Google AdWords, and he did drunk driving stuff. So I made him really very quickly get a lot of drunk driving phone calls for pretty cheap. And all it showed me was that I could generate Tony 1 million phone calls, and he still wouldn't know how to handle them. So Tony was a busy lawyer who spent a lot of time in court, so half the time he just didn't answer the phone. And part of the time when Tony did answer the phone, by the way, imagine if this is your client and you're generating them phone calls and they're just not answering. And then part of the time, he picks it up, he just sounds annoyed because you can tell he's got somewhere to be in 30 seconds, like probably court again, or a consultation or a meeting with a client, something like that. So Tony's like, just sounds annoyed, like, hey, what can I do for you? Quick, get it out, right? That kind of thing, that kind of tone in his voice. And then the few times Tony actually had some time and space to answer the phone, he didn't know how to handle those phone calls. I can remember somebody calls with a drunk driving, asks a question, and then he would say, any other questions? Goodbye. And then would hang up on him. So I realized really quickly, as much as I love Tony, it would be very, very hard to give Tony money. Now, I remember the first time I worked with a law firm that had a complete phone team. They had trained their team how to do sales. They followed up with all email forms within 3 minutes, and they answered the phone 24/7. Always had somebody available who understood how to close and how to sign up cases. And I remember I generated for him like just a small handful of leads. And he told me, hey, did you know we signed 3 cases from what you did? And I had no idea, and I was so stoked that it would work because I had been working with other lawyers who were not able to close those leads. And so I always compare this to like a poker hand. What we want to do is come in and bring the whole poker hand. But really, you don't want to work with somebody who, for example, has only the 10 of spades, and you have to bring the ace, and you have to bring the king, and you have to bring the queen, and you have to bring the jack. Because what ends up happening with those people is you feel like you're just dragging them to success, like literally just forcing them to go where they themselves are not ready to go. Now, when I worked with this other business for the first time, it was almost like they had the ace, the king, the queen, the 10, and I just showed up and said, here's my jack. I'm gonna help you complete your set. I can turn on the pipe a little bit, and you guys have the machine to deal with all the water. You got all the buckets, you got all the systems. You guys know what to do with the water when I turn on the hose. And that made my life, by the way, so much easier. By the way, they're building a new house next to me, and these guys just work in the blistering heat all the fucking time. So be thankful we get to do what we do from a phone and a laptop indoors where it's air conditioned on our own time. So I wanted to share this with you because you are ready. What you want to do in your life, either you can do right now, or you can at least do a big piece of it now, and you can take a big giant step in the direction of it faster if you just adopt the belief that, not that I'm ready, you don't suddenly feel like I'm ready, but you feel like I can learn what I need to learn along the way so that I can be ready. So that means when you get the $10 million business and you're only doing less than 6 figures yourself, it doesn't mean you suddenly feel like, yes, I'm ready, I can do this. But you go, hey, you know what? I will figure out what needs to be figured out. If you just adopt the attitude that you can solve the problems along the way, and that they're leaving them to somebody else, by the way, is one of the worst things you can do, because that opens them up to more, they're scammers and shitty providers and not people like you who actually care. And so you're actually doing them a disservice, because they're going to buy it from somebody. If it's not you, it's going to be somebody. So the more that you can just adopt the attitude that you can figure it out along the way, you can start to say hell yes to really cool opportunities, and you can go for bigger and bigger stuff. So one of the things I'm actually doing in my agency is I'm trying to land Joe Dispenza as a client. I've been direct mailing Joe now for like every week for like 6 months, and I'm just going to keep doing it until Joe Dispenza calls me on the phone one day and says, all right, you got me, let's do this. So that is one of the things that, do I feel ready to work with Joe? Probably not. If Joe calls me today, I don't know. But nonetheless, I'm going to work at it, and I know that I can learn what I need to learn along the way. So I want you guys to take that attitude, because you'll make your life so much easier, because instead of delaying what you truly deserve, you'll step into it and embrace that uncertainty and embrace the the problems that need to be solved, and you'll step into it rather than feeling like you need to prepare for the journey and avoiding taking step one. So it's a common thing that happens at every level of the agency game, but you get it right, and man, life gets more magical. So I'm gonna go in, hang out, just baked a cake, and much love to you guys. And if you haven't already subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and may the force be with you.